Hi you guys, we are on week 10 of The Artist's Way with Julia Cameron, and this week was about recovering a sense of compassion. And Julia talks about mistaking laziness. You know, sometimes we call ourselves lazy or think of ourselves as lazy when really we're just blocked creatively. And this week there's an emphasis on using better words to describe what's happening to us and to just address it as blocked and not lazy. Address ourselves as blocked and not lazy, and also admit that the real source and cause is fear, whatever, fears tend to come up. And this point in time during the process tends to be the point where we make creative U-turns, and most artists have done it, where we just don't follow through, we don't follow up, we let the ball drop, and we kind of go back and explore those times and forgive ourselves for doing those things and realize it's just fear. It's just the inner artist or inner child is afraid. And we went through the resentments and the anchors that we have and that we're holding on to and wrote them out just to get them out. Fears about any upcoming projects that we're working on. And you know what's interesting, like for me, of course there was synchronicity, there always is for me. And I think I talked about this last week, but I was offered my own radio show, and with that comes some responsibility and creativity, and I am supposed to be working on, I don't have a solid deadline, but I wanted to get this done sooner, but I need to come up with, music for the intro and a few sentences for my producer to kind of create like a bumper to start the show and end the show, and then a name for the show, and then an information page and all that stuff. So and then I have another project I'm working on that's independent of that, and just trying to strengthen some business skills, so working with mentors and things. And I really felt like my inner toddler kind of, when a toddler is just throwing a tantrum and eventually they just go limp because they don't want to be dragged along. That's kind of how I felt. Like I definitely have fears about, even though these are things I'm choosing to do and I want to do, like there's no conflict. Like I know that I want to move forward. It was actually me pushing to get these opportunities to happen. So I know that there's something I want, but it's just interesting because I felt like so much resistance because I just have these fears of being used up and of like not having enough energy for myself and losing my freedom, and I think that those are normal fears that come up for me because I've allowed it to happen in the past. And I'm currently working on self-trust and taking better care of that inner child and protecting myself better and having better boundaries. So it's interesting that this came up this week about having compassion for the self and the inner artist. So a lot of my fears were about that. And some U-turns. Yeah, I feel like I just went limp. Like I did feel lazy this week. I did feel like I didn't want to put myself out there as much and put as much effort into what I was doing, and I procrastinated a lot. Even though there's no real solid deadline for the project, I wanted to give my producer ample time to work with what I gave him, but I just found myself putting it off and procrastinating, and I even missed a couple of days with the morning pages. Really wanting space and distancing myself from people and everything. A couple of the creative creative U-turns, I think she calls them, that I took. Were when I was in New York and I was studying acting with an acting coach. I think it was as late as, or as early as 2009, something like that, maybe 2010. But I was studying with a really amazing acting coach who had connections and, you know, but I was so convinced that I was going to be in California that I declined, and I said, no use, because I'm moving out to California. But I was still in New York for 9 more years, so, or 8 more years, something like that. But still, I said, no, like, no use me investing time here in New York, because I'll be leaving. And it's crazy that I did that. And it must have been fears about moving forward, because even then I was like the perpetual student. I was always studying acting, studying voice, and I never felt ready to really take on anything. And later on you realize, well, you never feel ready, because it's the experience that teaches you and makes you ready. So yeah, so that was kind of crazy of me. And she really believed in me too, so I really regretted doing that. But I haven't lost the connection. It's not like I can never do that. And I still think I'll be in California over New York. But another thing I did was, a talent agent actually contacted or friended me on Facebook years ago when I was in New York. And because I guess we had mutual friends, because I have a lot of friends who are working actors, and this agent befriended me, and then I actually, this is the crazy part, I actually ran into him on, like, in the subway station, and I said, hi, we're friends, you actually friended me on Facebook, and we've never met in person, I just wanted to introduce myself, because I recognized him. And he seemed a little like put off, but I thought, well, this is an opportunity, and I shouldn't, this is a synchronicity. There's a reason I'm seeing him right now. I should just introduce myself and say hi and move along and not ask him for anything. And then later on, maybe I could follow up. And then I never followed up. And then I also had a friend who is an actress and a healer, similar to me in performing arts and in the healing world, and gave me her agent's contact info and stuff, and I never followed up. Like, I've done things like that in the past. I don't know why. I'm guessing out of fear and just feeling like I'm already stretched so thin, and not really loving the feeling of rejection. And I mean, who does? But and then we make a deal with Creative Force. We say, okay, Creative Force, you take care of the quality, I'll take care of the quantity, and then sign it. And then now we actually go through and read our morning pages. So we're actually going to go through and mark up the insights that we see and the opportunities to take action. Like, where do we need to take action? Like, we'll look at who are we complaining about the most, and what are we noticing, and just kind of highlight those things. She says you might notice a lot of black and white thinking, but don't be thrown by it. Acknowledge where you've allowed yourself to change. What have you been procrastinating? And then really give yourself the acknowledgement that you did this, like that you wrote these, you took the time, you invested in yourself, and then give yourself, credit for the changes and the growth that you have fostered. and that the morning pages helped you do. Then we visualized ourselves in like the best case scenario, our dreams unfolding, you know, in seeing it as the present. And, you know, I definitely see myself on set in a film project series that I've created, and working with really talented and skilled artists and even friends. Like, that feels really exciting and good to me. It's the same project I keep seeing, but I just never take action on. We write priorities and goals for this year. I'm gonna write this script and the idea for this, and I'm gonna reach out to my mentor about who I'm working with about finalizing things and getting it seen. Get script picked up. I would love to film in California. And then for the week, I'm going to finish this radio show project so that it's out of the way, because I feel like it's just kind of blocking everything. Until I finish that, I don't feel like I want to do anything else. So I just have to finish that and get it done. And then I have to write a script for the radio show that I'm doing this Sunday, the 25th. And it's always a 2-hour show, so I have to make sure I get that written up and it's rehearsed enough so that it doesn't sound like I'm reading it, so I don't have to like read it from the page. And then maybe just do some more character development for the main character of my project this week. And then I also have a lot of homework to do for the business project that I'm working on. Oh, and now we talked about the U-turns, the creative U-turns, and I feel like moving back to PA, I definitely have lost a lot of inspiration and creative energy. I have enough space to create, but I thought I would have more vitality, I think, and I forgot how like lackluster and uninspired I feel here. I forgot that that's the energy of this place. 'Cause I guess I forgot because usually I was here just for a little while recouping from New York City in that pace, but I forgot like it gets really stagnant. So I have to do something, especially in the winter, and it snowed today, so I didn't get out, I didn't drive anywhere. So yeah, I always forgot about how that happens, and I didn't know that it would happen again, but it's my relationship to this place. When I was in New York, I stopped auditioning because the cattle calls really sucked, and anything else kind of wasn't a paying gig, you know? I booked the things that weren't paid. Like, I always booked those. But yeah, like the cattle calls and things, that was just like the worst case scenario, having to be up so early so that you're far up on the list to be seen, and then just feeling exhausted from all the people and stewing in that energy, and that is probably the worst case scenario for me. And then going into the room and having to perform, you know, do your best 2 minutes or whatever. It's like, ugh, that was terrible. I hated that process. I wasn't good at it. So I stopped auditioning for things like that. I dropped the ball a lot. It's funny because today I got a phone call, and it was from a number that wasn't in my phone. It wasn't listed, but it said Los Angeles, California. I thought that was funny synchronicity. A few affirmations. I am brave. I am persistent, and I'm ever connected to creative flow. I feel like that really makes me see brighter colors and makes me feel more alive. Those affirmations working together. And then this week we choose an artist totem. So like a little stuffed animal, or something that speaks to our inner artist, our inner child. And So we take good care of our inner child and artist this week because of that. So that's it for this week. Next week we'll be recovering a sense of self-protection. So if you were having a lazy week and procrastinating and didn't get a lot done, don't feel bad. Like, don't judge yourself. It was actually really apropos and synchronous with this chapter. So like this video so I know you're watching, and subscribe to the channel. The bell icon will give you notifications when a new video is uploaded, and I will see you next week. Bye, you guys.